A big question on homeowners' minds right now, especially with the election coming, is now the time to sell your home or not? And how do you know? I'm going to go through the steps of what you should be looking at to decide whether you should sell your home or not. Number one, does that home still fit your budget, or can you afford it still? Your mortgage payment should really be the same if you still have it, unless you took an adjustable mortgage. But in this market where we are now at interest rates, if you do have an adjustable mortgage, that payment could be going up, so that can affect your mortgage payment. The second thing that has really changed over the last 3 to 5 years is the cost of insurance and the cost of your taxes. A lot of people who bought houses in the last 3 to 5 years have had their taxes reassessed and put up. A lot of homeowners insurance policies have gone up. The majority of homeowners insurance policies have gone up. Your coverage hasn't increased, but the cost of that coverage has increased. I own properties in about 6 different states, and in every single state I have a property, I've had an escrow shortage and an increase in cost either in taxes and insurance. So you just have to make sure that that cost fits your budget. And for the first time in almost 20 years of owning houses, I look at my utility bills very, very closely because the cost of those have gone up. Your electric has gone up. Your water has gone up. All the uses of our homes have gone up. So if that house you're living in has high heating bills because it has poor insulation, or has high electric costs during the summer or the warmer months because of the pool, is that house still affordable to you? The first thing you should be looking at, period, is this still meeting my budget requirements, or do I need to cut back, or maybe we'll talk about the next step, is that house still necessary? Number two, have your needs changed? A lot of times you see people as they get older, kids move out of the house, their needs get less. They have the need to downsize. They don't want all the property maintenance, the lawn, the roof, the leaves, the landscaping, everything, right? Your needs may have changed. You may not need to have a house that's that large, that costs that much money to stay there. I think that's a great reason to be looking, do I really need this house or not? Most people don't want to move, but I promise you, moving into a property with less maintenance and less bills will always be good for your financial future. So the second thing you should be looking at, period, is this house meeting my needs? And in that matter, you may not have greater needs. You may have had more kids. You may have needs for more room because you're working from home now. If the house isn't meeting my needs as far as my living space, you may have to move. And can I move and increase the cost? So that's just something you should be looking at, not only for your needs, but for your budget. Okay. Number three, and this is really important. What is your net return of your income on that investment, or your net loss? And is it time to cut your losses? I've bought properties I did great on. I've bought properties that I made an investment that wasn't a good investment because I either bought impulsively, I didn't look at the house close enough, I didn't think of the future far enough. And I had to some cases accept that I was going to lose money on that property. And in other cases, I had big gains on equity and I had to make decisions. Was this the time to take my equity out and put someplace else? I think if you're going to sell a home for a profit, you should know what you're doing with that profit. That profit shouldn't go in your pocket or your bank account, so you're going to send it on things that you aren't going to earn money on. The first thing I usually do when I sell a property and take that money out, if I don't have a need immediately for that money to put into another house, is I put it into something that gains interest, whether it's a money market account or an IRA or something interest-bearing where I can earn on that money until I decide what I'm going to do with it. Also, there's tax implications when you sell a home, whether for a loss or for a profit. If you're selling it for a profit, you definitely need to know what you're doing with that money. If you're not buying another primary residence with that money that you're selling and you're selling your primary residence, you're going to pay capital gains tax if you made money. If you're buying another primary residence, you can move the money over to that property and not pay capital gains tax. But if you're selling an investment property or you're selling your primary and you're not buying another primary, you have to figure out what you're doing with that money, because you could pay up to 30% in capital gains tax, which you could eat into a lot of the equity or profit you thought you had. 1031 exchange is something good to explore, and if you check out the videos on our channel, we talk about that a little bit. 1031 exchange is moving money from one place to another to avoid the tax on it, but figuring out whether it's time to cut your losses or what your profit is and what you're going to do with it is very, very important. Number four, and finally, don't get emotional about the home you have or you're living in. You have to look at that home as an asset only. I know we make memories in homes and we hold on to them for those reasons, but financially, you don't want to suffer because you're sitting in a house too long where you possibly could take that money out and improve your quality of life. I think it's important to look at that. What is your quality of life? Are you working just to pay the mortgage, or can you downsize a little bit and live a little better? Or do you have all these equity and you don't need this big house anymore? You can take that money, use it for something else that helps your life. That's something to sure look like on a go forward. For more videos, check out homequalified.com.